Welcome back. We're here to talk about Saturday evening's Premier League match between Chelsea and Southampton. Start with Chelsea's most recent league game, Pascal. 2 more drop points against Newcastle.
Yeah, really disappointing against Newcastle in the bottom three. No win all season. They couldn't go and win at St James's Park. Jose Mourinho still never won at St James's Park actually, and it's the manner of the game, wasn't it? Falling 2-0 behind. I know it's probably a good thing to come back and get a 2-2 draw once you've fallen 2-0 behind, but you shouldn't be falling 2-0 behind against a team like Newcastle who have been struggling and really poor all season. Especially at home. They lost to Watford recently at home, so it's a game that Chelsea really should have won, and they needed late goals from Ramirez and Willian. Two players who aren't even usually on the score sheet that often. So yeah, really, really disappointing result there. It was a missed chance as well to close the gap on Man City. I know City aren't top anymore. It's now United, who they're 8 points behind, so they're 7 behind City. But if they close the gap to 5 to City, who are, I know United are top at the moment, but many people still consider it's probably going to be Chelsea or City. Come the end of the season, it was a missed chance there to close the gap, and yeah, more goals conceded as well. It's just really, really poor in the league, and it didn't improve in midweek either.
No, it didn't. 2-1 losers against Porto. That was always going to be a really tough match. Porto's record at home is incredible. 18 wins in a row now, and their clean sheet record as well. So even to score against them in the Estadio do Dragão is a decent feat, but still, it's another defeat. And the way they performed as well will be concerning for Mourinho, because defensively, they just made too many mistakes in midfield. They gave the ball away. They were bossed in midfield, to be honest with you. They were outplayed in there. They were Porto midfielders looked much stronger. They looked quicker. They looked more skillful than the Chelsea midfielders. When you consider some of the midfielders Chelsea have got is incredible. Hazard was left on the bench for that game as well. So Mourinho, he said before that no one was undroppable, no one was untouchable in the team because consistency levels weren't there, and it was a clear message to Hazard and the rest of the team that he can drop anyone, because Hazard obviously won Player of the Year last season for his performances in the Premier League. Just hasn't been at that level so far this season. But none of the Chelsea players have. Ivanovic especially against Porto, he had a dreadful game. Brahimi just had him on toast all game, just skinned him left, right and centre every single time he seemed to come up against him. And those key players just, I think Costa, he had a good first half. Obviously he's not available for this weekend because he's still serving his suspension, but he had a decent first half but just faded in the second, hit the crossbar. But Chelsea didn't get enough players up in support of him. Mourinho looked like he was happy to come away with a draw, and he paid the price for that in the end. Porto deservedly won. They were the better team on the night. Chelsea did have their chances. As I said, they hit the woodwork, but so did Porto. Could have had a penalty late on when Costa flicked it inside and it hit the hand of Marcano. Probably should have had a penalty. So they could make a claim for deserving a draw against Porto, which would have been a good result considering Porto's home record. But in the end, deservedly beaten, and another disappointing result for them. It's been a terrible start for the season.
Yeah, and 2 goals conceded there, and in the league they're averaging 2 goals conceding as well, and only Sunderland have got a worse defence than them. And you mentioned Ivanovic there. I saw you gave him a 3 out of 10 in your player ratings. He's just been, it's incredible how different a player he is to last season. And Newcastle's first goal at the weekend is probably more Zuma's fault, but Ivanovic was sort of coming across as well, and the way Perez took it down and was able to finish like that, he should never have had that much time. And they got the second goal they conceded against Newcastle was from a set piece. The way they're conceding goals is just simply not good enough, and so that's 2 games without a win now. But they had won 3 in a row before that, but the games they had won, it wasn't exactly much to shout about, was it? Maccabi Tel Aviv in the Champions League, who aren't a great side, and they beat Arsenal, who were down to 9 men, and then the other victory was against Walsall, who are in League One in the League Cup. So it's not like they were exactly setting the world alight in their previous games, and then to draw at Newcastle and then lose to Porto, 2 very, very disappointing results. And a game against Southampton here is going to be a really tough one.
Yeah, Southampton, they'll be full of confidence after a win against Swansea last time out. Swansea, we know they've had a good start to the season, not as good on the road generally, so Southampton probably would have gone into that match as favourites, but 3-1 victory, really good result for them. There are a lot of positives to come out for it. Van Dijk getting his first goal for the club. I think he might be able to get a few more this season because he's a real threat in the air, and that run, it just seems so simple for him to run to the front post and just glance at home. I can see him doing a few more of them this season. And Tadic, he's playing really well at the moment. The front three of Tadic, Mane and Pele, they went off the boil a bit towards in the middle part of last season, but they started the season really well, and I think they were very dangerous when they're on form. Tadic and Mane both got on the score sheet in that match against Swansea, so and Pele's found the net a few times already this season. So if they're on form, they'll be confident of giving anyone a game, and certainly this weekend they'll fancy the chances against such a leaky Chelsea defence.
Yeah, Mane, he's actually got, I think he got 2 assists in that game. He's got more assists than he had in the whole of last season. Pele getting an assist in that game as well. So that all 3 of those players are contributing both goals and assists. They're all playing really well, and I mean, this game here against Chelsea, I know Chelsea aren't in great form, but it is a difficult game for Southampton. But you look, then there's the international break, and then after the international break, they've got 3 of the next 4 games at home against Leicester, Villa and Bournemouth, and Southampton do tend to be better at home. So it's a real chance for them here. They're sitting 10th at the moment. I'd say it's a real chance for them to sort of push towards the top half and back towards that sort of top 7 where they were last season. And Jordy Clasie could play in this one. He's still yet to play in the Premier League since joining in the summer, because he looked quite good in the Europa League games that he played. But he's a doubt for this one. But I think he's rated about 75%, so he could play in this one as well. So if they get him back, like you say, the front 3 playing really well at the moment, it kind of looks like Southampton, after a fairly sluggish start, it looks like they're going to be pushing towards the top 7 again.
See them getting anything out of this game?
It's a really difficult one to call, actually. Chelsea, I'm sure they'll be looking for a response after that defeat to Porto, and I think probably they'll just edge it. I think it could be quite a tight game, but I think they'll just edge it 2-1.
It's a tough one to call, isn't it? I don't think I've got a Chelsea one anywhere near right so far this season. I've backed them to win every match against the Arsenal, apart from the Arsenal game, and then they go and lose that one. I can see this one being a draw. Chelsea they've got the players, but they're just not playing well enough. Hazard didn't really have the response required when he came on as a sub against Porto. I'd expect him to start. I'd probably expect John Terry to come back into the team, because Zuma, as you say, was at fault against Newcastle for one of the goals. Didn't have the best game against Porto either, so I'd expect Terry to come in. That might shore them up defensively, but I can see Southampton getting something out of this game. I think I can go for a 1-1 draw. So going for a narrow Chelsea victory and a draw. Thanks for joining us.